Lori, thank you for being with us today, and thank you for teaching us all about Microsoft Forms.
You are quite welcome. Thank you, Dr. Hale. So on the screen, I have the address for office.com. We're going to do a few introductory things, and then we're going to go in and actually build a form. So while we're getting started, if you can go ahead and go to office.com and log in using your Agnet credentials. Be sure when you put in your username that you put your first name dot last name at agnet.tamu.edu. If you do not include the net, it will not log you in correctly. So if you'll do that, and then we're just going to talk a little bit about what forms can do. I am going to send you, this is a large PDF, and it's going to be attached with the recording of this training so that you will have it to refer back to. Our learning objectives today, we're going to demo various uses of forms for registrations, surveys, and interactive surveys during meetings. This can also be quizzes. So for instance, if you are preparing a 4-H group for a livestock quiz bowl or something like that, you can prepare interactive quizzes for them to practice. You can also do polls through email, through Teams, and during your live meetings. You can create a Microsoft form. We're going to go over two different ways to do that. There are now online templates, which they didn't always have. And then you can also create from scratch, which is what we're going to spend the bulk of our time on today. And then Dr. Hale said that there were a lot of questions about QR codes. So I will show you how to get a QR code to the form that you create. And then we'll go out to the QR code monkey and show you how to create a simple QR code for other uses that are outside of Microsoft Forms. And as you see here, we may have missed a page here, sorry. So this is suggested uses. Again, registration, interactive polls, order forms, customer ID setup. Here in Amarillo, we have a plant pathology lab, and people walk in the front door with samples. And so now they have to be set up as a customer with our agency. And so they can take all of that information, and then it pings the person that needs to get that customer ID set up. Our agents all report their fee-based programs using a form, and then I can just take that information and input it into the district report that is sent to our budget office. Inventory surplus, customer satisfaction surveys, training needs assessments, meeting or lunch availability. These are all suggested uses, and there are more. These are just the things that we've thought of in the last year or so since we've implemented forms in District 1. And then this is just the rest of this PDF training. I'm just going to scroll through a little bit for you to see that I have screenshots on everything. So what I'd like for you to do during this training is to spend your time watching and working along with me, so that, because to me, I learn when I do. And so I don't want you to spend all of your time taking notes. So that's why I've done all of these screenshots for you. And there's a sample form that you can create if you'll take this handout. So next we will move on to our samples. Now, if everyone has logged in, this is probably about what your screen looks like. And so I'm going to show you some of the forms and the great things about it, and then we're going to create one together. So the first way that you get to forms, you see these apps here on the left toolbar. Mine has forms here because I use forms all the time. Chances are you may not have that. And so you would click the grid at the top left. And then if you see forms here, you can pick it. Or if you don't, you can hit Office here and go search for it. And so I'm going to go to forms. And right now, I don't need you to do this. I just want you to watch. One of the greatest ones that we have done is we have our county judges and commissioners conference twice a year. And so we went virtual with our registration. And so I will open that so you can see what it looks like. So this is the creation pane. This is what I've done. This is the information that we wanted. We wanted their county. They can pick if they're a judge or commissioner, first name, last name, attendee's email address, and their phone number. And then there's another section, because what was happening is court coordinators were entering the information for other people. So if they had registered for someone else, then they enter their information here as well. To preview what this looks like for the user, this is what it looks like. Very nice and clean. And if they're doing it on their mobile phone, that's what it would look like on their mobile phone. So to get back to my creation pane where I could edit it, I hit the back button and that takes me back. Now, I want you to see the great things about this. And like I said, this is one of the ones that it has been the most beneficial for us. So I'm going to go to the responses tab. This is the questions tab. This is the responses tab. If you see, we had 85 responses. We actually had more than that. There were over 100, but there were some people that canceled out. When they canceled, then I deleted their response. So this is what we call the summary page. And this shows me that I have 85 responses. It shows right here that it's closed because I did have to close off the registration. You can set it to stay open all the time, or you can set dates, or you can go in and close it. And then if you look down here, we had 68 that were judge or commissioners and 17 that were judges. So this is a summary page, which is good information, but what I really need to see is the spreadsheet. So this button right here, you can click Open Excel in Excel. You can go here too, and you can delete all responses. This summary link, if I wanted to share it with Dr. Hale, and he was a collaborator on this conference with me, I could share this and he could see all of these responses as well. I can also print the summary, but for now, I would want to open it in Excel. What Microsoft Forms does is it builds your Excel spreadsheet for you. And so I'm not going to download it right now because it takes just a minute, but I do have that Excel spreadsheet and I will bring it up for you. So this is what it does. So you'll see that this first tab at the bottom, I have named registrations. So this is the data that people input whenever they register for my conference. And right now you'll see the ID, these numbers are not in order because I alphabetized it by county. So you can tell it up here to alphabetize it by county. You could set it here and tell it to alphabetize it by the number. You can alphabetize it. You can filter for only, say if I want to only see which commissioners are coming. Those are the commissioners that are coming. We had some commissioner-elects that came because they wanted to see what our conference was about. So the great thing is I didn't do anything to build this spreadsheet. Microsoft Forms built it for me. So if I want to see them all again, of course, I was filtering by their title. So I would say select all, and there they are again. Now, the great thing about this is, as you know, spreadsheets are wonderful. You can do lots of things with them. And so I've added these tabs across the bottom. So what I would do is replicate or duplicate my registrations, and then I would do what I want to use that data different ways. And I just want to give you this as an example. So this was a sort by title, because at the end of my conference, I have to send in some data to administration showing how many people were here and all of this type of stuff. So this enabled me to quickly count those numbers. This is my email list. And so if you go back to the registration page, I have the attendees' email addresses right here. But then over here, like on this one for Dan Luton, it was filled out by the court coordinator, Vanessa Watkins. So in my email list, I have Mr. Luton and Miss Watkins in that email address. And here's the cool thing. If you see, I want to send an email to everyone and say, this is my list. We're at capacity. If you're not coming, I need to know because I have people on my waiting list. So I'm going to copy that information. I'm going to go to an email. So I'm going to drag my email window over here. I'm going to hit Control V to paste all those people in there. And then Bingo, there they all are. And I can type my whatever I want in here and it sends it all to them. Another thing that I use this for, like when I wanted to verify my registrations, I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet and the reason I sorted by county is because I wanted to say, here are the people who have registered. So I'm going to copy that, go back to my email message. So type in whatever you want to, and then you can paste that right in there. So I sent that out to everybody and I said, this is who we have registered. Is this correct? And then I would get back my emails. So this has been one of the greatest tools for me. And then back to our spreadsheet. So we give out CEUs and the CEUs only go to the commissioners. So again, I messed around with that information and I only have commissioners on here. And then I had a tab for people who had canceled. This is my roster. And so this is the final roster. And I'll scroll up so you can see we've got all of the commissioners. Now this time they're all sorted by their last name. That's the beauty of this. I didn't do anything new. I just re-engineered my information and sorted it the way that I wanted. So at our registration desk, it was already sorted. All they had to do was check them off. It was sorted by last name. And then down toward the bottom, we had our speakers sorted by last name. We had the legislators and their legislative aides, and then the host and the sponsors, all in one list. And again, at the bottom, it allowed me to easily count that we had 134 people in our building. Name tags, same thing. We do the name tags for the judges and commissioners. Again, I'm taking this same information, and then I can go to Word, do a mail merge, and my name tags are done just like that. So that's why this is one of the greatest things about forms. Number one, your user is seeing something that looks very nice. You're getting an electronic format, and then this Microsoft Forms will bring that information into a spreadsheet for you that's very user-friendly and very intuitive. Now, if you want to see the results, you can go, we're back to Microsoft Forms. You can go view results, and this has respondent number 1, and it has who that was. So Dr. Bob Robinson was the first person to respond. And you can just go through those. Say, for instance, that your number 85, your respondent number 85 has called and said, I can't come. So I have keyed in number 85, and that took me directly to respondent number 85. And if he said, I can't come anymore, all I have to do is click here and say delete response, and it takes him out. So you notice we had about 88 people, but if you go here, I think the total number was over 108. It's just that we had some cancellations. So that's the nice thing that you can do, one of the nice things that you can do with this. And while we're on judges and commissioners, we're still in our editing pane. So I'm going to get back to my forms windows. I double click on forms at the top left. And that takes me back to the different forms that I have. So I have another conference coming up on March the 2nd. I don't want to delete the data from our September conference. So what I can do is click the little more actions here and say copy. Now it will make a copy of that one. Where did it put it? I'll have to find it in a minute. But it makes a copy of it, and then you can go in and it will start off with 0 responses, and then you can change your date. And if, like, I want to add in data for their address, because this is a year that we had a lot of new, oh, here it is right here. Find it in all my forms. I'm going to show you what we can do. So this is the new one. It says 0 responses. So I'm going to open it because I want to add more fields. So again, this is the edit pane, and I want to add the fields for their address because we had elections and we have a lot of new county officials. So I may not have the correct information for them. So I'm going to put in a text field and put in mailing address. And then we would put street or PO box. And then it's required, so they can't skip it. And I'm going to choose long answer just in case they have a really long street name. Then I would put in a new text and put in city. Insert new text and state. Insert new, and we'll get into all of this. I just want to show you how to create a new one, and this would be zip code. So now I can go here and change this to 2023 and March 2nd and preview, and I don't have to do anything else. It's all done. So if you look now, I have their addresses, which I hadn't asked for previously. So I am not going in on my computer and doing a new form that has to be uploaded somewhere. It's as simple as that to change that. And the other thing is right here, questions 1 through 6. I've discovered I now have probably 9 questions. 10. So I would change this right here and just edit it. And preview. And that's what it looks like. So I'm done with that. And whenever it comes to the time when I want to let people start registering for that conference, all I have to do is give them the link and the work is already done. Any questions about that part of it yet?
So again, show me how you got to the edits, because I know, and then how you get to the responses again on that side.
Okay. I'm going to go back to my other one that we had, all forms. I guess since I did that one, we're going to go back here. Okay, we're in the editing mode right now. And then to go to responses, there's another tab here that says responses. And right now we have none because that is closed. But right now, if we were to go back to our other one, then we would find it there. So here's your questions that you can change and your responses.
So I guess the question, how did you, when you open it up, it just automatically opens up in the edit mode?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yes. Okay, and then another thing that we have done is a shirt order.
I do see a question. It says, is there a timer to complete the survey? That's what Mary's asking that in chat.
You can add a maximum timer, but no, as long as they're working on it, there's not a timer. It will show you how long it took, but there's no limit unless you set a limit. This is a shirt order form. So just another example of how you can use this form. And so the preview, this shows you what people saw to order the form. They could get a short sleeve or a long sleeve, and then tell how they wanted to pay. And I will go back. That's the preview. So again, the mobile or the computer, and we're going to go back. That takes me to the editing, but this is really kind of cool here. So I'm not having to input anything into a spreadsheet. When we want to place our order, we know to tell the vendor on short sleeve, we want 1 small, 2 mediums, 6 larges, right there. And then if we go in and download the Excel version of it, then we could filter when the shirts come in, we can filter for the different sizes and know exactly who to give those to without having to sort and figure things out ourselves. It's a very easy process. And then we've done training surveys. Okay. So
on that example, they can't pay within this system. They have to go to another place to pay, or how do you work that out, right? So right now that's the one on both registrations and this. You collect the information, but there's no pay or transactions that can occur.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Correct. Okay, and so right now you see that I'm viewing it in tiles. I could also view it in a list just to see what that looks like. And so let me find, I'm wanting to find the one for the county support staff training. Perhaps that's the one I want. Yes. And so this was a registration that we used for county support staff training. Any dietary restrictions they wanted to enter. Again, they had a shirt size. They could list any training topics that they wanted. We have a new DAR agent, and she was talking about ways to track her budget. And so I said, oh, well, you could do this in Microsoft Forms. And so on this one, we're calling it a budget tracker. And so this is a little bit more complicated, but I just want to show you what the possibilities are with this. And so this is the editing screen. So you could put in your date of expense and then the type of expense. Now, if you watch here on this one, I have done branching on this one. So if you click travel, it's going to take you to section 2 to answer the travel questions. If you click fleet vehicle mileage, it takes you down to the fleet vehicle mileage and you answer those questions. If you click for supplies and equipment, it takes you down to that. To preview what this looks like, I actually put it over here. And so if you want to put in a date of expense, so put in today's date and it brings up that date for you. And you want to enter supplies, or let's put in a travel and do a car rental. So the travel date would be yesterday. And I could have clicked in there and gotten the calendar as well. So we went to Lubbock and mentor meeting. And then the car rental for the day was $41.32. And you submit it. Now, you can get a copy of your PDF responses. You can submit another response, which takes you right back there. And I'm not going to download that again, but I did download it earlier to show you what that looks like. So I'll bring you the spreadsheet here. And so these are the first 3 responses that I did earlier this morning. So it shows you the type of equipment, supplies, travel, or fleet vehicle, and I had done one of each. And then it puts in all of that information for you. And as I told our new agent, this might be easier because you can bookmark this on your mobile phone and it's really intuitive and easy to use. And so you can input that data quickly and not be dealing with trying to read a spreadsheet on your mobile phone. To me, that's very hard when you've got lots of columns and everything. This is much easier to use. So I just wanted to give you some options and things that you could do. And now what I would like to do is I'm going to launch a survey. Let me get back to the Teams window here. Hold on. And I'm going to put this into chat. And then as soon as you answer this survey, then we are going to build a survey. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it into the chat on our meeting. So if you will all go and answer that quick survey, there's no names, so we won't know who anyone is. And I'm going to go to the responses. So after you've input your responses, then I want you to see what's happening. It's an interactive response. But if you watch, we have a pie chart, we have a bar graph, and we have a ranking down at the bottom. So you could do this during a meeting. You could do it during a Teams virtual meeting, and then you could also do it where you can give a link during a training for a live conference. And see, we're not seeing anyone's name anywhere. It's all anonymous. So to me, it's looking like most people have used this for registration, skills assessment, and most people have a beginner's level. So this is what you could use to do an assessment before you build your agenda for a training. so that you would know what you need to concentrate on. So I know with this training, we don't need to get really advanced. We need to stick with the basics. And then once you learn the basics, there are a lot of other resources out there at LinkedIn Learning. We could come back and have another follow-up Text Tuesday sometime to get a little bit more advanced and do some of the other features. But for right now, I think this is really interesting to see. So you can use, like I said, use this data, but I love that it's live. Anyone have any questions right now at this point?
Mary's asking, how do you make it anonymous?
Well, because I did not include a question about your name or your email address. So if you go back to the responses and I open this in Excel, it's going to download it, and I'll pick up my download. And see there, I did not include any fields. Well, there it is. It's given because y'all are all internal, but normally it won't include the information. So I did one for an external committee I'm on and asked them questions where I did need to know their name, and it didn't give me their name. And so this is your information. Now, this is a little bit harder to read than in your in the results page, but that's what it's looking like right now. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do, I hope that I have piqued your interest a little bit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back, and I want everyone to help. Let's build a basic form. And so we're going to go to Forms, All Forms, and then why is it not created? Hold on just a second. Okay, so hopefully you're all at this screen with me, and you can do a new quiz or a new form. So if you click the little caret, you're going to select new form. Marcy, could you share the web address for the AgriLife forms again? So you need to log in to office.com and use your Agnet credentials. And if you get behind a little bit, all of these screenshots are on the handout that we will post. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you begin. So we're going to create a basic registration form. And so, excuse me, or let's do it for an awards dinner. And so we're going to title it 4-H Gold Star Awards Banquet. And then underneath it, it says form description. Well, we're going to enter the date and the location. So on this one, I'm going to put West Texas A&M University. And the date. So this is going to be larger. Your top field is going to be larger font. And then on the next one, that's going to be smaller. If you want to see what that looks like, just so you get an idea, that's what it looks like so far. It's going to default to this kind of teal color. So this would be your title, and then this would be your date information and location. And so probably it would be good for me to put that it was in the whatever banquet hall. I'm not sure where they're having it, but then if we want to add our logo, you can click this little button to insert media, and you get a new pane. So if everyone follows along, I hope that you can find the logo for extension somewhere on your computer. So I'm going to look for the AgriLife extension logo. And I want to go to, you can look online for searches, but I'm going to go to upload because I know where it is on my computer. So I'm going to go find that. And I'm going to get a PNG version because if you get a JPEG, sometimes they have the ugly white box around them. And I want a white one because I know that the background on that is teal right now. So I've added a logo. And now if you look at it, it puts the logo there in the title box. So that's what the preview looks like. So, okay, I want y'all to interact during this. And so in the chat, I would like to know what fields you think we need to ask. What questions, what bits of information do we need if we're going to do a registration for a district Gold Star banquet? Okay, we have allergies, name and email, that's good. Good, number of attendees. So we're going to start off. So I clicked add new, and this interactive part of accommodations needed. Okay, that's a good one too. So you can choose a choice, which is multiple choice. You can do a text, a rating, the date, and you can insert a ranking, a linker. So what we're going to do is talk about what these are. The first thing is a choice. So that's going to be multiple choice. You can allow them to choose only one response or multiple responses. Well, if the first thing we want to do is add their name, then we're going to choose a text. So I'm going to choose family name. Family last name. And I want it to be required so that they have to provide an answer. They can't skip it. And then someone said number of guests. So we're going to put total number of guests. And so that's going to be a text. We don't want a choice because some people might have 1 and others have 8. So that's a required field. There's nothing special about that one. And then the next one, we're going to add new, and we're going to do another text. And we're going to put names of adults. Or we can put first names. Maybe that's not a good idea. Why? Because some family names might be Martin, but some of their children, or they might have a different last name. So how about names of adults? And that way you would have their names to do their name tags as well. And you might change that to long answer just in case you get some people that have long names. Add new. And we're going to add another text. Names of children. And you're being very open-ended here. So like in my family, our last name is Martin, and we all have the same last name. So in the names of the adults, we would put Tommy and Lori, and in the names of the children, we would put Derek and Anna. But if you have different last names, then they may want to put those last names in there as well. But that gives you the information that you need. Add new. Okay, let's see. Let me go back here. Names of attendees and guests. So we can put in here, well, the names of adults and children should catch the guest. So we've got the next thing that was suggested was dietary restrictions or allergies. And you might put a long answer. I've seen some people that put a lot of stuff in there. And then the next one, accommodations needed. And that can be a long answer. And then here, text, names of Gold Star honorees. Okay, what have we forgot? One of the first pieces of information I might have wanted would be county. So we're going to put in text and we're going to put in county, but we want it to go as the very first question instead of question number 8. So how do we do that? You see the little up button over here? So we're going to just hit that. Now it's number 7. So keep hitting that until your county is question number 1. So now our number 1 is county, then family last name, total number of guests, number of adults, number of children, or names, I'm sorry, and then allergies or dietary restrictions. Okay, so now we still need to get their email address and their phone number, and maybe preferred method of contact. So after we put the names of the children, let's click in here, and then we're going to say insert new so that it goes after that question. So this will be your question number 6, and it's going to be a text, and it's going to be email address. And then we will insert a new one, text, and phone number. Now on here, I want to ask them to put it in a certain format. And so I'm going to say, add a subtitle. And all that does is provide instructions for them. And then we want to insert a new, and this time we're going to do a choice. And this one is preferred method of contact. And then we can put in text or email. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Please slow down. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so if we go back up to the top, question number 1 is county. Question number 2 is the family last name. Question number 3 is the total number of guests. Number 4, the names of adults. Number 5, the names of children. Number 6, the email address. Number 7 is the phone number. And 8 is the choice of text or email. And then we have the allergies and accommodations and the names of the Gold Star honorees. Well, I kind of might like that up toward the top under the names. So I think that's something we might want right under the county if we have a Gold Star honoree. So I'm going to move this question up to question number 2. And just a reminder that this training is being recorded. And so the great thing about that and our trainings that are available on LinkedIn Learning is you can go back and listen to them again and stop it and use also the handout that we have so that you can create your own. So now if we look at the preview, this is what it looks like so far. This is just the very basic format. So now I'm going to show you how we can go in and go back to get back to your editing. And we're going to go work through all of these items on the upper toolbar. The first thing we're going to do is customize the theme. This is what we want it to look like instead of it being this boring teal colored. So Forms is going to suggest some theme ideas for you. Well, we don't really want donuts on there. You could change the color just by clicking one of these. You could also go in, and here's the rest of them. They finally populated. So it thinks we're talking about food, so it's put some food ideas up here, which might be good for a dinner tonight, but we want something for an awards banquet. This is Gold Star. So we want to do our own thing. So if you want to customize your own, go down to the bottom, bottom right, and hit Customize Theme, and it will take you to a new window. So there are two icons here. The first one, when you hover over it, it says Upload Image. This is going to be the image that's going to appear as the background. And so we want to do an online search. Since this is I've played with this before already, and this is actually what you're going to do when you work through the instruction set. So I'm going to put in star. So it's going to bring in a lot of different things that we could use. Now when I put in star background, it comes up with different things. So you can try it and see what it's going to look like. This is a nice looking gold star, and I didn't see this one before. The one I picked was this one, but let's see what this does and see if it will let us add it. So I click onto it and I click the add button, and it may tell us that we cannot do it, that it's not supported, but we'll try it and see. There it is. Now that looks like a gold star banquet to me. So if we want to change that teal and we want that to look nice, you can preview this. But see, that teal doesn't go with the rest of it. So I want to change that to a black, this teal part right here. So we're going to go back, and we're in the theme pane again. So you'll scroll to the bottom and click the edit to customize your theme. So we have our background. The next thing we want to do is change that teal to a different color. So now it's going to ask you, what is your hex number? And so you have to know what the hex number is. You can go to, let me pull up Word. You can look up hex numbers online by Googling too. And here, larger for us. And so this is our font color. If you go into more colors and go to custom, see this number right here? This is the black I want. So it tells me that the hex number is 6 zeros. So if you wanted a blue, sorry, it went away on me. So if you want a blue, you select your color from the color chart, go to custom, and then you can just copy this over and put that in as your hex number. But for right now, I know that we want the black, and it was 6 zeros. So I'm going to get rid of this. So I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that shows me what my color is, and it gives you a tiny preview. So now if we want to preview that, now see, that looks a whole lot better than that teal header. So this is our, this is the preview. This is what the mobile looks like. You don't get the pretty stars in the background, but it still looks nice. But I want to go back and do some more editing. So I like the look of it. But if I decided that on here that I wanted this to be a different color, you can also go in here, you can bold it, you can make it italics, you can underline it, you can change the font color, which it's white right now. We could try and find that gold color if we wanted. You can select large, medium, or small. You can also enter bullets, which we wouldn't want to do here, but you do have those options. All right, so we have set our theme. Now the next thing, we don't want to collect responses till the end. So let's go over and hit the other actions. If I wanted to collaborate or duplicate this form, so I built a form and I wanted to send it to someone so they could use it as well, you can duplicate the form and then another person can use that form. So if we were having a Gold Star banquet in all of our districts and we wanted to create it once and share it, that's an opportunity for us to duplicate it and send it to someone else. You can also collaborate. So if I wanted to collaborate with Dr. Hale or Dr. Burkham or someone else, I can collaborate using the collaboration tool. For right now, we're going to go to settings. We always suggest that you make it who can fill out this form in the top box. Toggle anyone can respond, because if you put any only people in my organization and then they happen to forward that to their Yahoo or Gmail address and they're trying to work with it, they will have difficulties completing the form. So it's a good practice to put anyone can respond. If you're ready to start accepting responses, click accept responses. On my judges and commissioners, if you recall, I said that we were full and we had to quit taking registrations. So I had to uncheck that. You can also put a start and an end date. So if I know that for my March 2023 conference, I want to start taking registrations January the 2nd and I want to end on March the 1st, I can toggle these and enter those dates. And then you don't have to come back to it later. Someone asked about, is there a limit on the time? So you could set a time duration where if they didn't complete it in however many minutes, it would log them out, just like we get logged out of some of the systems that we use. Shuffle questions. I wonder, why would you want to do that? But say, for instance, that you're doing a quiz bowl preparation and you've got 4-Hers sitting next to each other with their cell phone, and Jeremy's looking over at Anna and thinking, oh, she's really smart, I'm going to answer the same thing that she's doing. And so that would be something that would be handy to shuffle the questions. So you could leave like the first 2 or 3 questions as the same and only shuffle the ones that were below that. And that just keeps people from looking on at others. You can, if you want to, show a progress bar that says you've answered this many, you have this many more to go. I always hit the customize thank you message to say it will automatically say your response was submitted, but you can say thank you for registering. We look forward to seeing you on March the 2nd. And that they will get that at the end of their registration. And then these bottom 2, I always click these, allow receipt of responses after submission and get email notification. The first one gives a receipt of the responses after the submission to the person who filled out the form. The second one gives me an email notice every time that there is a response. So when I was playing with the new form for our DAR agent earlier, I went in and did 3 different responses. And if you see my emails here, there are different responses. Here's the 3 that I did earlier, and that tells you that you have gotten the response so that you know to go out and look at your results. So that's on the settings. Then if we want to go, you can also make, okay, there's a question over here. Can you make anyone can respond to default setting? I don't think that you can. I've played with a lot of these and it always defaults to only people in my organization. So you just have to remember to change that. Then the next thing on settings, if you want to make it multilingual, say for instance that you want to make it available in Spanish and English, you can click that. So the primary language is English, and then you can add another one. So you can go to Spanish or French or any of these. And then at the very first, it would ask, do you want to answer in English or Spanish? I'm not going to do that right now, but that is an option for those of you who serve Spanish-speaking clientele. And so you could print the form if you want to, and that prints it without any of the responses. And then the last thing that you're going to do is you're going to go to collect responses. So again, it says anyone can respond, which is what we want it to say. Now, I will caution you that I had done one survey and then I realized I had left out a question. And so everyone was responding to my survey, and then I went in and added a question, but I did not give them a new link. So it didn't add that question. When you get the link or the QR code, then it's going to take it as it is right now. So if I come in and add a question later on today or tomorrow, I need to get a new link and share it. So you can do that. Okay, so we want to shorten the URL and then copy. And then you can take that URL and you can put it in an email or do whatever you want to with it. You can go here, and if I want to send this to Dan Hale, I can type that here. I can send it to him by Outlook. I can send it to him by Teams, and it will send this to him. Or you can go out to Outlook and do it from there. So if you look right here at these icons, this is for sending it by email and by Teams. That's the invitation. If you go here, that is your QR code. So you can download the QR code, and that puts it in your downloads. I'm going to show that in my folder. So right here is my QR code in a PNG form, and then you can take that and put it wherever you need to, your websites or whatever you're doing. Let's see, we're in this one. Okay, and then the other one is you can copy, and this last one is to embed the link. So you can copy that and paste it into a web page. Now, the other thing that you can do is go out to Teams. And if we're going to be taking these registrations by people calling in to our office, then I'm going to go into my the district support staff team, and I'll show you how to put this into a team. So you would hit the plus button to add a tab, and then it's going to come up. I'm going to choose forms. And we're going to add an existing form. And this is the one that I've just done. And the reason it says personal is because I have not collaborated with anyone on it. So I'm going to post to the channel about it, and I'm ready to collect responses. Hit save. And bingo. So now in our team, if anyone calls, any of my staff can go in and enter this and hit submit. So all of my staff members that are on this, I'd like y'all to go do that right now. Just fill in some basic information, and then we can show the results. So there are none so far. Thank you, Dr. Barkham. Okay, while they're doing that, the other quick thing that Dr. Hale said that we wanted to learn was QR codes. So I showed you how to get the QR code on this one. So if I'm going to pretend that we can't do that here, because we can do our own QR codes, but I'm going to get this link, and I'm going to go to QR code monkey. So this is outside of anything. You can use this for anything. It doesn't have to be for Microsoft Forms or whatever. And so you would go in here on your URL, take that one out, and post in whatever yours is. And it's as easy as create QR code and then download your PNG. You can also do a PDF, EPS, or a SVG. So that is QR code monkey, and that is again in the handout that we have for you. But you can do that for anything. If you've got a survey, just whatever you want, even if it's outside of forms, anywhere that you have a link, you can just paste that in, say create QR code, and then download your PNG. You have to sign up for it, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so we're going to go back to the gold star, and maybe we have one response. And so we're going to, we're just going to look at that response. And so that gives you the information of the that you would need. And then it also will build a spreadsheet for you. So you can open that in Excel. Okay, so I have to let it do its thing before we can work with that spreadsheet. It's verifying it right now. Okay, and then one other quick little thing. So polls, I don't know that we have time to do a poll right now. Let me show you something. So this is our window for our meeting that we're in right now. So polls link into forms as well. So there's different places that you can put a poll, but I'm going to show you how to do it right here during a live meeting. So you're going to hit the plus button, and you can do a poll or a form. And so just for your information, this is something new and coming. The forms, as far as inserting like this, is going to be called polls. So I'm going to go ahead and go to polls. They're changing the name of it when you're using it during a live meeting. And so those are suggestions, but we're just going to click save. And new poll. Let's see. Let's do a word cloud for something different. You can do multiple choice, ratings, rankings, quizzes, just like you can in the form, but let's do a word cloud. So I'm going to launch that right now, and it's going to show the responses. I could click record names, but we're just going to do it anonymously. So I'm going to say launch now. If I wanted to save a draft of it so that I did this before a meeting, we can do that as well. And again, there are screenshots of all this because we're about at the end of our time. So as people enter their responses, we will see a word cloud right in front of us in this meeting. So go ahead and type a response about something that you have learned or something you want to try after this meeting. So if you build this, you can also use it to check understanding. So if we had a little bit longer, I could have done some quizzes in the middle of our training to see what you were learning and make sure everybody was on track, and it's a way to engage your audience. Another thing that you can do is in a team or in an email, you can do a poll. So I'm going to show you a quick email poll. So I'm going to do a new email, and then we're going to go to insert, and we're going to insert a poll. And then which day is best for a business launch? And we're going to give the options of October 5th, October the 6th, and October the 7th. And scroll down here, and they can do multiple answers or one only if they want. You hit next. So that tells you what it looks like, and you're going to say add to email. So it's taking you out to Microsoft Forms, actually, and it's going to put that in your email. Come on. There it is. And so I can send this out to, I'm going to send it to Dan Hale and Lindsay Shepard and Caleb Reading, because I know they're on this. So I'm going to send that to you really quickly. And if you'll answer that, then they can all see. I get a copy of it here. So I'll say October the 6th and October the 7th are the days I could go. Now, as the other people, as Dr. Hale and Lindsay and Kayla vote, then we'll see what their votes are too. So you can easily see what day is the best day to schedule a lunch. You can also do this same thing in a Teams message. And then the cool thing is you can see them right there. So October 7th is looking better. So it looks like if we're going to go to lunch, we would go on October the 7th. So that's a little quick poll that you can do. You can do those in your live meetings. Now, if you go back out to forms, I'm just going to show you on forms that it has put those polls on my forms palette. So I can go here and I can see what those responses are. Right there. Now, more people have responded to our survey that we did. We've got 44 responses now. So I just want to show you how nice this looks. Think about, this is how we planned our county support staff training when they came in. We used their interest and their skill sets to make our agenda for that training. So I'm sorry I went a little bit over, but do we have any questions?
I have a question. I wrote it.
Okay.
If I want to use this as part of a training program, like a survey at the end of a training program, but I'm at a location without internet, but everyone has a phone, how can I use can it still be used through the mobile, and how?
I think that you could do that. As long as they can get phone service to get to the internet without their wireless or anything or Wi-Fi, as long as they can get to the internet, all you would have to do is give them the URL so that they could get to that customer satisfaction survey, and then they can post that there on their phone right at the end of the training.
So can I add on a slide the QR code so they can scan it with their phone and go to that website directly?
Yes, you can do that too. So what I would suggest on that is just to print a bunch of them, like print it business card size and hand them out to people, let them scan it and go from there. That's that's the preferable method. You would just have to have it ready before you go to the training. And then the nice thing is, if you did that training in December and then you were going to do another training in February, you can take that, go to your forms, how I copied the judges and commissioners registration. You can hit the little other actions and copy it, and then have a new one to work with and not recreate the wheel, and just kind of change the answers a little bit as you need them to be. Excellent. And let me show you one other thing, because you're talking about customer satisfaction. So let's go back to, well, let's go to this one. And let's go, we need to talk just a little bit more about this, because we talked about choice and text. And rating is where you would rate something as like a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 star. So that might be important in a customer satisfaction survey. You can add however many levels you want, up to 10. And you can change it to a smiley face, a thumbs up, a number, whatever you want to do. Sometimes the numbers are better, because that way they don't accidentally hit the wrong one, thinking 1 is the best or 5 is the worst. And then if you want to add a new one, and there's other things here that you can add, like the linkert is like a little table. And so this is how you would say how they feel about whatever. And so you can add more. And this would be, highly dissatisfied, neutral, those types of things. So you can customize that. That's what a linkert is. And then the last, I believe, so the Net Promoter Score, that's where you can have them rank it from 1 through how likely are you to recommend da-da-da. So that's 1 to 10, being not likely at all the way to extremely likely. So those would be very handy in customer satisfaction surveys. And then one thing that I'm on an external committee called Texans Caring for Texans. And so it covers like the top 26 counties of the state, and I'm the representative from AgriLife that's on that committee, but there are representatives from TxDOT and all sorts of state agencies on that committee. So the sole purpose of that committee is to plan a awards banquet every August. So the nominations have been submitted in a very disorganized fashion. So this year, my goal is to redo that nomination process and have all of the data in a form. And then right here, you can let someone upload a file. So you can let them upload I can upload it, but I can allow them to upload photos. I can allow them to upload a file. I can specify how big the file can be and whether it can be like a Word or a PDF or whatever. So instead of them sending emails in and doing all this discombobulated stuff, it's going to be very organized. And then I can add a collaborator and put my co-chair in that committee as a collaborator so that both of us can get those results. So there's lots that you can do with this. And I know it's a lot for 1 hour, but again, if you go back through that handout, it's very step by step with all of the screenshots. And I'm here if you have a question as well. Any other questions?
Are you gonna email us the link to watch this again, or what? How?
Yes, I believe Dr. Hale's office, they'll give you all the link where the Tech Tuesday is, and also my handout that I've made.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit, but we'll get it up, and it'll be put in YouTube, and then we'll embed it in the employee. If you go to the extensionemployee.tamu.edu site, that's where we now have all of our Tech Tuesday located at that point. So Lori, thank you very much. You did a tremendous job, and I can't wait to look at because I'm going to have to go back to this video myself and kind of go step by step, but you did a great job of really kind of making it where we can now take it and do it. So thank you very much for everything.
You're quite welcome. I would suggest before you begin, sketch out what you want to do. So make a list of those questions. Think about if you want to use branching like we did in the one for the budget tracker. So this one, depending on how you answer this question, if you say travel, it goes to that section. And if you say fleet vehicle, so branching is really nice. I know that District 11 did quite a survey down there for registration, and so if they were answered that they were an agent, they got one set of questions. If they were a support staff, they got a second set of questions. So it's really, really neat what you can do with this.